This is Ranger Kidwell Ross, editor of WorldSweeper.com and the director of the World Sweeping Association. Today, it's my distinct pleasure to bring to you two of the leaders in the power sweeping industry in the United States, Laurie and Jay Presutti of East Coast Industrial Services. They're based in New York City, and they are the winners of the 2023 Award of Excellence in power sweeping for a variety of very good reasons. They run their business very well. Their watchword is to do everything correctly, ethically, to admit to any mistakes they make, because we're all human, and to make up for that however it needs to be done to make things right. They also are involved heavily in helping their community, and as well as helping other contractors when they hear about difficulties going on with them. And for those and some other very good reasons, they're quite good winners for this year's Award of Excellence in Sweeping. And in the following video, I want to also let you know that you will be hearing a variety of good ideas about how business should be run to be professional and as well as to be profitable and be able to expand and take care of your employees and so forth. So without anything further, let's introduce you to Laurie and Jay. So welcome, Laurie and Jay, and congratulations for being our Award of Excellence in Power Sweeping winner for 2023. It's certainly a huge honor, and you have joined some very illustrious personalities and businesses in the sweeping community as a result. And I certainly think this is a well-deserved award. I've been around you for some number of years, and like decades, shall we say, and it's you've really been involved in a lot of nice things. So and gone through some difficulties with a partnership split up at one time and those kind of things, and have surmounted all of that to become a leader. You're listed as I believe number 12 in terms of the contractors in the United States by Pavement Magazine, and that's a big honor as well, and it really puts you where you deserve to be. So anyway, I'll quit talking and let you talk about your company and tell us how you were formed, and a little bit about the organization, and why you think where's excellence. What's that mean for East Coast?
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, we started back in 2008, came off a ugly partnership breakup. And we started in 2008, and we've just been soaring ever since. We try to do everything the way it should be in the industry, as far as treating the customers with respect, and making sure that we own up to our mistakes, because we do make them. We're not perfect. We try to do everything the right way. Safety with our employees, whatever you can think of as far as the power sweeping industry goes, we've tried to implement, have been using it, or are trying new things every day. But it's been a challenge. It's had its ups and downs, but it's been a great ride so far.
Well, you have one of the things that you've been very proactive with is when you see injustice around the industry, you're a champion for other contractors and aren't just thinking of yourselves. And that was one of the considerations I know that went into the award. You've been both a NAPSA member and a World Sweeping Association member, and have tried to work with those organizations. I speak certainly for the WSA part of it, to see where there's been problems out there that other contractors are facing, not even so much as necessarily East Coast being involved in the issues, and have really been an advocate for the industry and for professionalism in the industry. So, what prompts you for that?
Well, I've noticed in the industry, a lot of people starting out in the industry that may be new or may have a low in the action of their regular work have a tendency to fall into the third party trap, I call it. And don't get me wrong, there's third party management companies out there that do very good and treat you right. And there's third party management companies that's the complete opposite. And you see so many different frustrations, if you will, about contractors that didn't get paid, haven't been paid, and have to do all these check-ins and check-outs and photos and so on and so forth, and they still didn't get paid. So I just try to educate them and help that you need to get the right amount of money for your company to make money. So if they're offering you $40 a sweep, and that's impossible, and your bottom line out the door to make money on your point of where you need to be at to make a profit is $60, then you need to hold true with that. And you need to mark up those sub agreements that they send you that say, we'll pay you when we get paid. That's the first thing that comes out of mine, because I don't know when retailers are paying the third party management companies. They could tell me all day long they haven't been paid. They may not have gotten paid for locations that were not locations I serviced, but as a whole, they weren't paid, and I fell into that web. So I try to make everybody really cross that out, because technically, in my eyes, you're working for the third-party management company. Their obligation is to pay you. You're not working for whoever they're contracted with. That's their problem if they don't get paid. That's why they make lines of credits at banks. I just try to make it very clear that, when they don't pay you, don't just stop there. Reach out to their customer and say, hey, we've done X amount of locations for XYZ third-party management for your stores, and they never paid us. We're going to file a mechanics lien on each one of your locations. We're going to, institute a lawsuit against them, and we're going to pull you guys in it as well. You'd be surprised how well stuff like that works. And don't be afraid to negotiate your pricing. I'm a big advocate on it. Third-party management might have a niche in the business in certain markets, but there's certain markets that that's just you can do the job very well, get the money you need, and have the contract terms be negotiated. Their contract is not the final contract. And if it is, maybe it's not for you. Walk away. Look at other business that's not third party. I mean, the hoops they make you jump through to get paid, you got to get paid for that aggravation sometimes. So, yeah, I try to help a lot of contractors out that end up feeling like they've hit a stone wall with regards to that. And I try to go with sell on your service. Don't sell on, don't just settle for price. And that's what, a lot of these third-party management companies do. They sit back and they don't own a sweeper. They don't own a $110,000 Nighthawk or a Timco or whatever the case may be. They own a telephone, and they just field phone calls all day long while you're stuck holding the bag. And the other big component I try to educate some of the contractors that are new is a lot of the insurance language that's in the contracts from third-party management companies, where you got to edit that so that it's specific to the service you're providing on the date and the time you provided that service. Otherwise, you're going to get pulled into the web of you're their eyes and ears 24/7, and something occurred when you weren't on that property, but because you didn't report it, you're now pulled into a lawsuit. So I try to educate them as far as getting rid of that clause or negotiating that clause differently. And if they don't want to budge on it, walk away from the contract. It will cost you dearly in the long run for something like that, something as simple as that. So yeah, so I am I try to help everybody. I'll be honest with you. I try to help everybody. Some I can, some I can't. It is what it is.
Let me add a couple things to that, because that was so well spoken. But when you look at your contract, a couple things I'd add is if you don't feel that you can do what the contract says, and I'm thinking right now of the current take 3 photos, also call in on the correct line and so forth, and we've heard of situations where they forgot about the photos with some vendor, or the line was busy, they couldn't check in even though they have GPS showing that they were there. If you don't think you can do those things that are in the contract, don't expect that they don't care, because in my opinion, some of the contract language is there specifically to make the hoops harder to jump through, so that they can not pay you and have a legitimate, to them anyway, a legitimate reason for not paying you. You only sent 2 photos, or the guy forgot the photos that night, and et cetera. And another one that's watch out for, you'll find that if there is a lawsuit, that the contract will say that the lawsuit has to take place in the location, the state that third-party vendor is located in, and see if you can't move that also. If they expect lawsuits, they won't allow that to happen. If they don't expect lawsuits particularly, you may well be able to move that to your location, or to call for mediation. So anyway, those are things along those lines. Let me talk about the things you've done otherwise for people. I know that you have at times, been involved in helping families at Christmas, helping, seeing where need existed in your community and getting involved with that. What are some of the things that you've done along those lines over time?
We've done so much. We've done a lot of anything from Toys for Tots in my father's memory. We've done adopt a family. So Christmas time, if a family that's, down and out and doesn't have anything, we've literally furnished everything from the turkey dinner to the tree and the and all the presents for the, not just the children, but the family as well. And I could remember one year it was we did the couple of the boys that worked for us dressed up as elves, and one of our guys was Santa Claus, and we had the sweepers. We put 12-volt inverters on the trucks, and we decked them all out with lights. And one of our employees, looking at you now, Ranger, with that beard, makes me laugh because
I'm a little Santa.
No, he had on the fake Santa beard, and just before we literally got three, maybe 4 pickup trucks loaded with toys. We were going to do 3 families that day. And one of our sweeper operators had on the big bushy fake beard, Santa beard. And he was at the end of the driveway waving all the traffic as it went by while we were waiting to leave. And he come up the driveway and thought he was on fire. He lit a cigarette and lit his whole fake beard on fire. So we had to do some customizing prior to going out for Santa Claus that day. But no, we've done a lot of that. We do a lot of volunteer work for our community as well as other communities. Like when Superstorm Sandy came through and really wreaked havoc on a local village by us, myself and my son, we jumped in sweepers and donated a day and a half of sweeping up branches and twigs and crazy amounts of debris that was all over the roads. And we we donate time to our local community, and every year we sweep. We volunteer for the Main Street cleanup, and we clean up Main Street. We clean up the walking trail. We'll clean up the Little League park. We do it all as a volunteer. We have a lot. We do a lot. We do a lot for the community. We give back a lot, and we don't ever look for any type of fame or fortune. I mean, I'm one of them guys that really doesn't like the spotlight. I don't like to be out in the limelight. We just do our thing, and we don't look for anything in return, and we just carry on. But yeah, we do a lot for a lot of different things.
So, Laurie, we've heard from Jay about this, but the actual fact is that East Coast is a woman-owned business, and you're the woman. And so I know that you've let Jay say whatever he said so far. That's how that must work. What is your day-to-day involvement in the company, and how is that is being a women-owned business affected the company, your ability to bid, federal contracts or contracts where that's important?
Well, I'll start off with my daily routine is, come in, check my emails. They always put receipts on my desk. I'm what they call the receipt Nazi, to make sure that my books are okay. I did not go to school for bookkeeping, but I'm learning. And then, I do bank reconciliations, and I go to the bank, and I go to the post office, deposit the checks, come back and do the deposits. So it's mainly reconciliation of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good way to handle it. Really, as a team, is to have one handle the back office and one handle the sweeping itself, and
Yep.
other services. We'll talk about that too. You provide a lot of other services, I know. It's not called East Coast Sweeping; it's called East Coast Industrial Maintenance. How is being a woman-owned business? How does that assist, say, on the federal or state level where that's important?
It's the percentage of the bid that, we're able to, what's the word I'm looking for?
They have to, a lot of the bids have to have a percentage go to a disabled business, a minority business, a woman-owned business. But a lot of that is for when you're bidding direct with the state, direct with the government. We're more of a sub to the big contractors that have to meet those goals and be awarded those big $50 million paving and milling contracts. We're the sub for them. So we don't really engage much with the main government entities as we do with the subs. So that's where our WBE comes in. And there's a lot of, I know Laurie gets a little camera shy, but there's a lot of stuff that she does that, oversees payroll, and there's a variety of other things and every day is a different task. So every day, and we try to divide it up. We try to make it so that I stay in my lane, she stays in her lane, Kimmy and Brian and Neil, they all stay in their lane, Julie. But she works hand in hand with Julie, who is the bookkeeper of the business, to make sure we can still meet payroll every week.
That's an important part. Talk about the services that you provide in addition to sweeping. Street sweeping, parking lot sweeping, other kinds of maintenance services. What kind of a slate of services do you provide?
Well, parking lot sweeping and heavy highway and construction sweeping is a main core of business. We also do landscape maintenance. Again, everything we do is strictly commercial, municipality, no residential. However, in the wintertime, I do donate our snow plowing to any veteran or senior citizen that gets snowed in and can't get out. We'll go over and plow them out as long as they can wait for us to finish our contracts. So that's about the only residential we will do, except for our roll-off dumpsters. Our roll-off dumpsters will do commercial and residential for power washing, pothole repair, signage, handicap signs, stop signs, pretty much anything that goes on at a shopping center, tenant cleanouts, vanilla box. So if a tenant moves out, go in, clean it out, repaint it white, get it ready for rent again. There's quite a bit of stuff that we do.
Yeah, that's I think that's the way that operations should be run. Is it costs a lot more to acquire new clients than it does to take care of the needs of your current clients. And to me, the best business model is when a client calls with, you just tell them, call with what you need and we'll figure it out for you. And I know that's what you do.
That's pretty much our model, because you can't make a killing on parking lot sweeping anymore, especially in 2023. The prices are less than what you were getting back in 1996. So, I mean, it's mind-boggling, some of the prices I see that some of these companies want you to sweep for, and it's an impossibility when you're, New York's talking about increasing the minimum wage to $21.50 an hour, and then having it rise with inflation. So if inflation's 9%, you're looking at 9% every year. But they don't look at the fact that you're already in multi-year contracts that you can't get out of. That there's only so much you can absorb, and between that and insurance and fuel and everything else, I don't know how some of these people can go out there and sweep for the prices they're sweeping for. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Well, to me, one of the adages that I think is absolutely true is that in any negotiation, the person in charge is the one who's perceived by both parties to have the least to lose. And you need to run your business to where you don't have to have that a particular contract that's a bad contract just to meet payroll and to increase your volume and that kind of thing, because that just doesn't work. In the short run, in the long run, it's really a problem. And back to these third-party vendors, one of the things that a lot of contractors don't realize is that because the pricing is low on those third-party vendor contracts, is typically lower than you would have otherwise in your business, then you're not able to do as much, put as much time in on a particular property, and that's pre-established. But as a result, I'd say probably 80% of the complaints usually come from 20% of the customers, and that really can make that happen a lot more even. What are any other kind of tips that, I mean, you've become quite successful in not only your market area, but in I think recognition, obviously nationally at this point. Are there other tips that you would have for people, contractors listening to this, about professionalism? How do you keep employees happy to work for you? I mean, a lot of times they're out there at night where maybe they could be, running a FedEx truck by day or something like that. How do you keep them with you?
We do a number of things, and there's two things I want to touch on. One being that, when we hire, we try to give them a fair starting wage, and we offer them a lot more than just an hourly rate. So, for example, all of our larger roadway sweeping trucks, we just purchased brand new X brooms, and we bought them all non-CDL. So now I have the ability to take my guys on the parking lot side, which I have promoted 2 of this past year, into extensive training and putting in the non-CDL heavy highway trucks, substantially increasing their payroll, because obviously they're in mostly prevailing wage work, which is substantially more than non-prevailing wage work. So we try to make it, and we do company breakfasts, we do recognition, we do, this year we had a Christmas party, and we have a Christmas party every year, but this was the first year we went and had it at a catering hall, and a buffet style food, and we gave away things like 50-inch TVs, sound bars, DeWalt cordless screw guns. What else was it?
Crock pot.
Crock pots for some, we put ladies gifts in there too, because, we do have ladies that work for us and they may not want a DeWalt screw gun. So we got crock pots and things of that sort. And we gave out Christmas bonuses. We recognized them. We added a 401k with company matching. We're doing health insurance. We give them a fund where up to $300 a year we'll reimburse them for it's a health and wellness fund where if they buy something company related, whether it's they want a warmer pair of gloves or they want a Carhartt jacket or a new pair of work boots, they show us the receipt, we'll reimburse them for that. Even if they want to do a gym membership, we'll help reimburse them for that up to $300 in a calendar year. And we just try to keep it as a team atmosphere. Is it like that all the time? No, I'm not going to sell you pie in the sky. And especially in today's day and age, trying to recruit people. I mean, today's the first day of a new girl that just started in the office. Today's our first day. We probably interviewed 15, or let me rephrase that, schedule interviews of 15 different girls, to where 3 may have shown up. 1 started today. We're hoping that works out well. So we try to treat everybody as if they're a team member in the organization, and we don't want them to ever feel they're in a rut where I'm just going to be a parking lot sweeper driving the rest of my life and I'm not going to go nowhere. No, you can move over to what we call the PO crew. That's the guys that go around and do the potholes and the power washing and fixing signs and tenant cleanouts. Or you can move to the landscape division, or you can move up to the heavy highway division. So we try to keep it like that. So that's some of the background on the employee side. On the other side of things, and this is something that I just really pushed on social media, get involved with your industry organizations, such as World Sweeper, NAPSA, whether it be a Chamber of Commerce, whatever it might be, because I sit down and I hear, I just got back from Charlotte, as you very well know. Was the show considerably smaller? Yes. Was the attendance down? Yes. All of that started in COVID. Does everyone want to be in Nashville? Yes. But more importantly, maybe it's my warped mind of thinking, I look forward to those shows at NPE every year because it's like my vacation. I get to be around other sweeping contractors that have the same like mind as mine, share ideas, and be part of an association. And if you walk out of that show and you don't at least take back one piece that you can implement in your business, that's going to save you tenfold of what that show cost you, you were sleeping for the entire show. Because I've been doing this now 33 plus years, and there's not a show that goes by or a networking session that goes by that I don't always take back something from one of those events. And I can't stress that. And I really kind of ranted about that on social media when I got back, because so many people are so narrow-minded with, what's that going to teach me? What am I going to do with that? Listen, always something to pick up. I have a friend of mine that I've been fighting with for years to get into an organization and attend NPE. And he finally did last year. And he looked at me at the end of the show and he said, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you all the previous years, because he said, I got so much good advice from just being here. And a lot of the advice was outside the bar in the hotel lobby with other contractors just talking and sharing ideas. And I really, really stress that. I mean, you get out of it what you put in it. And if you don't take that extra step to I mean, this is your livelihood. This is your industry. Why wouldn't you want to know the cutting edge things and go to those events? Just mind boggling when I see the attendance from our industry. And I'm like, there's way more people in our industry. Where are they all? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is amazing, and those are the people that you see in getting in trouble too, and not being able to pay their bills and so forth. I'm reminded of several times when at the sweepers roundtable at the NPE National Pavement Expo, um, that they talk about pricing, and you can do that in a general sense, at an expo position where you can't do that with your competitors, but they'll take the way that we typically handle that is to say, okay, everybody in the room, all you contractors, raise your hand if you're in the lower 80% of pricing, in the 50% of pricing. And the punchline is that almost everybody in the room is in the top 10%, probably in the top 1% of pricing. They're more expensive. And that means they're making money. And that also means that they're handling fewer complaints because they're doing a real good job. They're out there, like you recommend, selling service, not selling price. And, that's the only way in the long run that, you can be in this for 33 years, like you're talking about.
One of the things I do, and I say this all the time, listen, you're going to have the cheapskates out there that don't want to spend no money to have their parking lot swept. But the one thing I do is I know my price point, and that's the big thing. You got to know your price point. What does it cost you to unlock your door every day and run your business? What is the cost of that? And once you establish that cost, then you can know, and we established that cost and I put it in a spreadsheet. And then in that spreadsheet, I figure out what my profit margin has to be and where I have to be. And then in that spreadsheet, I put in the amount of money every week that customer is going to pay me to sweep and how many days they want us to sweep. And then in the end column, what comes out is the amount of time I'm allowed to spend to meet my margins. And there's customers I may say, listen, based on what you want to pay, I can give you 20 minutes, but that's it. If you want more than 20 minutes, here's what the price is going to be. So I try to make the accounts work for me. Yeah, there's some accounts I know is not enough time, but I didn't set that cost, but I still have to make $1 or I'm not going to be in business to have this interview or do whatever in the future. So I do make it work that way. And a lot of people don't. They figure, you're not going to pay me $90 for that sweep. I can't do it for 50. You could do it for 50, but they're going to get 20 minutes of time, not an hour of time. And they need to know that out of the gate. So, and that's kind of how we run our business. Again, there's certain customers that say, no, that's not what I want. But
Well,
that's my 2 cents on pricing.
absolutely. That's a good 2 cents. That's I'd pay $1 for that. One of the a term I want to bring up, and it was new for me last night. I went down the rabbit hole of artificial intelligence for a while, and because it's going to revolutionize things. But one of the things that I caught my eye was the top 20 technology changes that will be affecting us in the next few years. And the one that caught my eye, I'd never heard this term before, is called decision intelligence. And with artificial intelligence, there's a lot more information that can be gathered, it turns out, by electronics and AI than we can do with the human brain. And decision intelligence is a new field where they're saying, gather as much information and statistics as you can throughout your business, whether that's, and in our case, that would be from contracts to expenses to maintenance on your vehicles and so forth. And just to use that in terms of your vehicles. If you have a lot of statistics that you've added for your vehicles, so that you know when they're being maintained, when they've had to be maintained, what the oil and generalized lubricants and all that, plans that you're doing, mileage on them, whatever else you can come up with. And there's a lot of software out there that can help with that these days. The decision intelligence will be packages of software that you'll be able to, that will just collate all of that information and tell you. It'll pop up, for example, and say, it's time to sell this particular unit because it's becoming more expensive, and the probability exists that that's going to cost you more money to keep it starting today than than it's worth keeping. And other decisions about your business, maybe where you're really making your profit and where you're not, or forecast can involve forecasting for what that particular part of the industry is going to be doing in the next few years. And they said that within 5 to 10 years, businesses that don't employ business intelligence won't be able to be competitive. And I look forward to that. We've seen a lot of creeping in of different software products that can streamline your day-to-day operations, as well as inform your maintenance needs and those kinds of things. So it'll be interesting to see what that turns out to be, but I like the term.
Yeah, there's a lot of that data that's out there now, just, like in our accounting software. My wife, Laurie, and Julie work together a lot, recategorizing a lot of our expenses to make sure they're plugged into the right category, so we're not getting a skewed view. Our software for our fleet maintenance or our equipment shop software, you could set parameters of when this truck reaches X amount of hours or X amount of miles or X amount of dollars in repairs, notify me that it's time to sell this truck, switch it out, get another. So a lot of that stuff is there now, and a lot of your forecasting and things come right off your P&L. And that's why it's so important to make sure everything is categorized right. So if you bought $30,000 in landscaping mulch, you don't have that expense in your sweeping category, and because you're not getting a true and accurate number of what you spend on landscaping and what you spend on sweeping. So to what you said, that's absolutely, and I'm very, very, very anal on that. And my wife and Julie have been hammering on that for a while, and making sure that, like she said in the beginning when she was talking about her receipts, she itemizes them all. She proves out the different bills that come in to make sure everything matches. So, as shy as she may be on a camera, but
well, she's not in person, I know that. Well, what else should we talk about? Is there anything that I've really missed? I've enjoyed this, and it'll be informative for people watching. There's no question. They'll learn a lot. Is there anything that you want to leave us with, or topics?
The only thing I would like to say is, thank you, and
Yes, thank you.
and the different organizations out there, such as World Sweeping Association, NAPSA, and whoever else it might be out there, for the things you all do for the industry, because without you guys, there would be no sweeping section of the NPE or whatever the case may be. And, without you guys being the voice of the industry, and I know Ranger, I've called you up many times, we've had conversations, and, it's nice to be able to pick the phone up and say to you, contractors say to you, hey, you getting any complaints by so-and-so not getting paid, or any complaints on a bid from a retailer that was supposed to be 3 years, and then a year into it, they're switching the terms. You're not shy to get on the phone on behalf of the membership and say, hey, what's going on? And it's appreciated. And maybe you don't hear it enough, but it doesn't go unnoticed on my end. I'll say that.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Jay. You know, one of the things that I think is so important in that regard is that it's hard for you as a vendor for that company that's just trying to change their contract or go out to bid at an odd time or whatever they've done to go to that box store or whoever it is management and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Because you're afraid to get singled out, and I think justifiably. So when I do it, as you've seen through World Sweeping Association and World Sweeper before that, I definitely guard anonymity. You know, I'll talk about the things that I know are going on, but I won't cite the contractor that told me to make sure that there's not some kind of vindictiveness that can occur. And I think that's one of the big important parts of an association. And I know at World Sweeping Association, we get lots of kudos because we offer our members something every 2 weeks. And that gives one of the things that happened there is that contractors now recognize that if they have a question or a beef or a wonderment or whatever it is, they can get it out to 100 other contractors with at max within 2 weeks, because we'll ask that question and say, hey, what's everybody think about this? Have you seen it? This is what happened, you know, in New Jersey. Has anybody seen it in Connecticut or in Florida or any place else around the country? And boy, that has really given us a leg up in the contractors a leg up in you know, learning ahead of the curve about things that are going on. So I agree that that's a very important part of organizations, is to, you know, do that kind of speaking on behalf of the contractors and investigating and that kind of thing. And I've been glad to be part of that. I very much enjoyed starting World Sweeping Association 11 years ago. That has a lot more interest to me than the World Sweeper does, part of it does anymore, other than water quality issues. Sweeping is the first line of defense for water quality, y'all. And so understand that that's the case. Well, what else? How should we wrap this up? I know it's a nice way to wrap it up to say how, you know, what a great job Ranger's doing and all that, but there's I think what this is all about is what a great job Laurie and Jay are doing. And is there any kind of a overall philosophy? Now you've really given most all of it, but is there anything else that you want to say to leave the viewers with here?
Other than we appreciate the award, it means a lot to us. We just did a nice new expansion with a new office building and expanded our shop space, so it's going to look very nice on the new walls. And get involved with an organization, attend the trade shows and the NPEs, and I'm always here to help if I can give some advice to somebody or shed some light on something, whether it be a part you can't find or a suggestion you have. You can always reach out to me. I'll be happy to help. Other than that, we appreciate everything that, you know, you guys all do for us as well.
Well, all right, let's leave it there. And again, thanks so much for all you have done, and I know you'll be doing in the future. And again, congratulations, Laurie and Jay Presutti, winners of the Award of Excellence in Power Sweeping for 2023 for the United States of America. It's a nice honor, and one that you shared with contractors since 1995. So it's something that that will look nice on your wall. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.